What the fuck was that like?
What was that? Okay, guys, I just want to apologise quickly for my reaction to Jake Paul's music video. What was I doing there? I haven't really processed what I was doing, but you know what? If you enjoyed it,
Happy.
what was that though? Anyway, let's get on with the video. What is up, YouTube, and welcome to another video. Yes, again, it's going to be another one that's slightly different to my normal videos. Well, very different. But today I will be giving you my thoughts on the much anticipated Logan Paul versus KSI fight. What a fight it was. Here are my thoughts. What a fight it was, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't expect it to be quite as even as that. I thought JJ would be slightly more convincing than he was. I think he was also surprised himself. After the first two rounds, I thought, crikey, JJ needs to respond. If you didn't watch it, or if you did, I'm sure you'll know JJ was a bit rocky in the first two rounds, and Logan was on the offense the entire time mostly. Really effective jab, closing the space between him and JJ. Really impressive stuff from Logan. He was very confident, he was smiling, I think he was getting into JJ's head a bit. But boy did JJ respond. What a response from JJ. Third round, changes his tactics slightly, changes his approach to the game, to the match. He starts to do a few unconventional punches, highlighted by True Geordie and Joe Weller, and they were really effective, and Logan finally started to feel the true wrath of JJ, or KSI as most of us know him. So round 3 and 4, I would say they were given to JJ. JJ really did push on from those first two rounds, and by the end of round 4 we had a perfectly poised boxing match. Now round 5 is where it gets interesting. We've gone through 4 rounds already, but round 5, boy was that an interesting round. It started, you know, fairly even, and then for about 10 seconds Logan unleashed on JJ. Completely unleashed. Headshots, body shots, right hook, left hook, uppercut. He was getting them all in. I was thinking, JJ is on the ropes here. Could he get knocked out? Could this be the first point in the boxing match where we see a potential knockout? And what did JJ do? He responded like a champion. After being completely obliterated by Logan for about a good 10 seconds, 10-15 seconds, he just walked it off as though nothing happened, and replied with a fantastic left or right hook. I can't remember which one, but that seriously rocked Logan, and you could see it in his face. I would say that was the deciding round, because round 5 was a round which I would say is the hardest to call out of all of them. It was going to Logan, but then JJ replied with a superb left or right hook, and I think that would have given the judges a very tough decision as to what the result of that round was. Round 6, JJ wins. JJ wins round 6 convincingly, very convincingly. And if you were watching the fight, if the fight had gone on for, I'd say, another 10-20 seconds more, we could have seen quite a likely knockout from JJ. He was pushing and pushing, clearly was more fit. He had much better cardio than Logan, it seemed. Logan was clinging on to KSI during the end of that round, and I think Logan was very lucky with the timings, because I feel like if JJ had just started pushing like he did a bit earlier, we would have seen a completely different fight, maybe a knockout. I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit drunk when I watched the fight, so at the end I was actually thinking Logan had won. I didn't really take into account the last few rounds, but yesterday I watched the fight again, the whole thing, and took into account everything. I listened to the commentary properly, and I got a much better view of the last few rounds that way. I have to say, after the fight I was thinking this is probably a draw after watching it, but then I kept thinking that last round from KSI was so convincing, and I was convinced he won rounds 3, round 4, and even round 5. So in my opinion, looking at it now, once I've analysed it completely, I do believe that JJ should have won, because I believe 100% rounds 1 and 2 definitely go to Logan. I agree with that. Round 3 went to JJ, round 4 went to JJ. Round 5, I believe, because it was so even in the first half of round 5, I think that it was that hit by JJ. Yes, I know Logan was hitting him with some convincing shots and battering for a good 10 seconds, but there was no real technique to his approach, and I think the judges maybe should have noticed the fact that JJ had come back from that. He'd just been battered by Logan and managed to produce that sort of shot straight after being hit quite badly. I think that should have won in round 5, and he definitely won round 6. So I would say in points wise it should have been 4-2 to KSI. I know a lot of you will disagree with me on this, but that's how I feel. I feel like it was quite evident from that fight that JJ was the more technical boxer. He was the better boxer. The fact that it was a draw is incredible. I do think there was always going to be a rematch. I don't think it was fixed in terms of that it was always going to be a draw. I really don't think that, but I do think that there's always going to be a rematch. And oh my word, I cannot wait to see that. I will 100% be doing a video on it, and I hope you guys watch it. So yeah, I think it was really interesting that that one judge thought KSI had won. How they did it, how they only had 3 judges. To be honest, I'm not sure if that's the case in all boxing. Maybe because this is amateur boxing, there are fewer judges, I'm not sure. But I think that it might have been a smarter idea to have more judges. And I think just the fact purely that one of the judges went for the KSI win kind of backs up what I'm saying. And yes, I'm not a boxer, I don't know anything particularly about boxing, but I've done a bit of research, and my feeling is JJ should have won, and that's what I believe looking back at the fight. I did switch between draw and win for JJ, and the fact that I was doing that means that I'm actually quite okay with the fact that it's a draw. I think it is fair in a way, and I think you could see both fighters respected the decision. I think Logan said he thought he'd done enough to win the fight, but I don't think he did. Take my hat off to both fighters. They were extremely respectful of each other at the end, had a nice long chat. I really respect what Logan said to JJ about the fact that he has kind of saved his career. I think that was a big thing of him to say, and I think he didn't have to say that, and it shows he's matured quite a lot since the awful incident, as we know. Take my hat off to Logan. I have to say I really do like the mutual respect between the two. I think with Joe Weller and KSI, it was a slightly more personal fight. This fight was slightly more of a business decision, let's be honest. They will have made millions from this fight. But, you know, I think they've both done an amazing job. I think KSI has done so well to create this entire event and sort of make this into one of the biggest internet events in the history. I think there was one point where someone said 100 million people will be watching this fight. If that is the case, that's incredible. But yeah, shout out to JJ and Logan. Great match, given me so much entertainment over the last few months, and bring on the next 6 months into the next fight. I'm very much looking forward to it. Okay, now let's talk about Deji, Comedy Shorts Gamer, versus Jake Paul. Now this one, I did predict. I predicted that Jake would win. However, I did think it would be a knockout for Jake, and I have to say I'm surprised that Deji held on for as long as he did, especially considering what he looked like in the weigh-in. You know, when I saw him in the weigh-in, I thought, crikey, this really is going to be a knockout. But well done, Deji. You did so well to hold on for those 5 rounds. Big respect for you, bro. Hats off to Jake. We all know he was clearly the more physical guy. I'd say more confident when he walked into the ring. He just wanted to get going, whereas Deji was a bit, I just want to take this in before I get hit. I do think part of Deji knew he wasn't going to win, and he's just done a video saying that his cardio was terrible. And I think if you go into a fight like that against someone who's that better physically than you with bad cardio, I think you're facing defeat right in the face. I did say I thought Jake would underestimate Deji, and I was right, because I think he got a bit complacent. I think he was just going to batter him in the first round and get a knockout. But again, Deji showed heart. It meant so much to him, this fight, and I think that's what pushed him all the way to the 5th round, and he really, really deserves the respect from Jake, and Jake really gave him that respect, and I think that shows great sportsmanship. Same with Deji. Deji gave Jake respect as well, so both of you, well done, great sports, really good match. It was interesting how Vidal said that Deji was a more technically gifted boxer than JJ, faster, which was interesting, better movement. And I think there were glimpses in that match where when Deji was landing, and I think he landed maybe 1 or 2 significant punches, when they did land, Jake was, you know, he was battered, and I was thinking that if he could have just produced a few more of those, Jake could have had a problem. And Jake was bleeding at one stage. I know he's a bleeder, but I think that did shake him. And I think Deji is right in the fact that if he had a lot more training, and when I say a lot more training, I think at least a year he'd need to beat Jake. And I think if they were to rematch in 6 months, I still think Jake would win. But I think it is possible that Deji could win, but I think it would take a lot of training, and I believe his trainer would have to be better, because let's be honest, Vidal, what a trainer he is. I mean, if you just compare how far KSI has come from the Joe Weller fight, it's astounding. It really is astounding. He's done so well physically, mentally, his tactics in the match. I know I'm going off on a tangent here, I'm going back to the KSI Logan Paul match, but just the way he responded to being battered by Logan in the first 2 rounds. He just came back round 3, round 4, end of round 5, and absolutely battered Logan in round 6. And I think that shows a tremendous heart, determination, motivation to succeed. And I think that's all part of JJ's image, and he's backed this up very well indeed. Going back to the Deji Jake match, I think it was one of those matches where we all knew who was going to win. And I think the media sort of painting that picture, saying, oh, you're going to get knocked out after 30 seconds. I think that will have weighed in on Deji's mind as well. I think that will have knocked his confidence a bit. And I do feel for Deji, because he really hasn't had much support. And the fact he was kicked out the Sidemen house, no one really wanted him there. That must have been tricky to then sort of leave friends and then, you know, start it all again on your own. So I think he's got a lot of heart. He's got a lot of willpower, and I respect that. Anyway guys, thank you very much for tuning in to watch this video. I hope you thought my insight was interesting. Please drop a like, subscribe and comment if you're new around here, which, let's be honest, most of you will. All my subscribers, I know you don't really want to be watching this kind of content, but I think I'm going to be slightly moving away from flying videos. I'm like the idea of producing traveling videos, but just not so much flight videos. I'm just trying to see where YouTube takes me, because I'm very busy. I'm a student, so I've got a lot of work to do, and starting university again in September, so it's very difficult for me to produce flying videos when I'm not actually traveling that much. And I do like just sitting in front of a camera and just saying what I'm thinking, comment on different situations going on around the world. And I was really interested in this fight, and it really got me gripped. And just to let you know, I did lose out on my bet. Yes, I had an 8-fold accumulator, and I think 3 of the fights out of the 8 I didn't get. So yes, £10 would have won me £1,000, and that would have been incredible. But I think it was a long shot. But yeah, again, thank you so much guys for tuning in. Again, please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Comment what you think of my content. Do you like it? Do you not? Just be honest. Completely open with that, and hope to see you all again soon.